Doreen, can you hear me okay? I cannot hear you yet, but it's just because you're muted though.
Yes, I am
Oh,
hearing you. I'm ready.
gotcha. Thank you. Good evening, everyone. We'll get started here in just a few minutes.
Where are my people? Hey, everyone, just sneaking in, looking at everybody logging in. Thank you for joining us tonight. We have a little quick conversation about combating the side hustle mentality. I hope you'll enjoy us. If anyone has any questions, please put them in the chat section. Jim, is there a chat section up for everybody? Can I see 'em?
Yes, there should be. Yep.
There we go.
Mascara on your eye.
Do I? Oh, which eye? Other eye. Hey, Shane, is this your first time or are you a frequent flyer here? I see Major Mike is with us. He's one of my clients. All right. All right. Good evening, everyone. Who's new here? Hey there, Major Mike. Good to see you. Good to see you. You've kicked it up a notch from side hustles, so we might use you as an example tonight. Ryan, you're new. Awesome. Good. Thank you for coming. JJ, you're new too? Good to see you. Well, usually I have a long, drawn out, like 40-page presentation for everyone. Good evening, Stephen. Thank you for joining us. But tonight I wanted to get to know everyone out in the audience a little bit better. My slide presentation tonight is probably a total of 9 pages. I wanted to talk to everybody about combating the side hustle mentality. Even though this may not be your primary source of income, if you create your business as a successful side hustle, it can bring you a wealth of income. So, sorry, that was my helper here. All right. So, you have a full-time job, but training is your passion. And the firearm needs great instructors to share their knowledge. So not everybody wants to do this full time. I do it full time, but it's maybe not for everybody. Maybe you only want to teach once a month. That's actually my retirement plan, is to back it off and maybe once a month. You should know that in-person classes aren't your only option. Automation is your friend, and that is really important when we're talking about a side hustle, especially. It's easier than you think to succeed. If I can do it, you can do it. I'm putting 20 to 40 butts in seats every single week for my Michigan concealed carry class in a crazy competitive market here in Metro Detroit. So if I can do it, you can do it. I spend $0 on advertising, and I will help you get to that point. And then a side hustle, still a respectable form of income if you know how to monetize your knowledge. And that's what I've done. The hustle, that's training done on your own schedule. It could be frequent, it might be infrequent, depending on demand. There's no real time spent on marketing. Typically, guys in the hustle game or girls in the hustle game are just dependent upon referrals, not necessarily interested in creating a brand, as you might call it. You don't have time to put up a website, you don't have time to do social media. Answering the phone can be a challenge because for many that do things as a side hustle, you already have a regular 9 to 5. You already have something that you do 40 hours a week. This is just something that you do on the side. Customer follow-up is not a huge priority typically. And you may or may not expand your offerings in the future. And that's typically what I consider a hustle. It's important to remember that it's still a business and that there are plenty of students out there looking to train. And you may be the most qualified in your area. You can control the demand by making yourself more visible to those in your local market. And that's the Google business profile that I always push people toward. Even if you don't have a typical place of business, you don't have an address that you teach at every week. Maybe you're a gypsy and you teach at different ranges. You still can do a Google business profile. You don't have to be in a place that you can list an address. And that's an important thing to note for people who are trying to beef up their student count for their classes. You can increase the demand by using your former students as a source of future students. And that's where I excel. I really make it important or make it impression on people that, hey, this is a lot of information to take in. And we understand that our class here in Michigan is only 8 hours. I know that there are classes in other states that are up to 16 hours. Ton of information to take in. And a lot of times we have students in our class that are new to the firearms industry. So some students come to class with a little bit more experience and knowledge behind them. But for a newbie, to sit through an 8-hour class and just have all kinds of stats and things thrown at them, it can be a bit much. I have the luxury of being able to seat up to 60 students in my classroom. So I offer my alumni, people who've taken class with me before, to attend free to any upcoming class as an accompaniment to a paying student. So that does take up a seat in my classroom, but I'll be honest with you, I typically have plenty of seats available no matter what. I can comfortably seat 60. I routinely cut classes off at about 40. It is me and another instructor handling the class. And then when I go to the range, I have 3 range safety officers, and I only have 6 people shooting at any given time. But that's how I manage my class sizes. Increasing demand by using my former students. Every student that comes through my class, I request that they give me a Google review, and I provide them with the link to my Google business profile. A lot of instructors log their student lists in the USCCA website, which is great, but the USCCA will immediately upon completion of your class, when you go in and you check all attended and submit the class report, they're going to request a review from each of your students. When the students make that review on the USCCA platform, that's where it stays. Um, Unfortunately, that doesn't do anything for you for getting future students. It looks nice on your USCCA profile, but the reality is you need those reviews in a public forum where everyone in your local community can see them. And so I ask for a review from all of my students before I submit my class list to the USCCA. So I'm able to grab those reviews. I'm able to have them show up on my website. I'm able to have them show up on my Google business profile. And that is a great source for future students. For some of you, even the most basic website can bring you nearly endless training opportunities. And many of those training opportunities can be virtual. I run into instructors every day who have hired GoDaddy professionals or whatever to give them a website, and they give them all this gummy talk about SEO and all this other fancy schmancy stuff. The reality is you don't need all that. What you need is a basic website, and then you need to be able to point people to that website to learn about you. Your website is your salesperson. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, it's available. But if you put up a website, it doesn't matter how fancy and how many bells and whistles it might have. If you put it up and people can't find you, it doesn't matter if you have a website. I excel in getting people to know that my website exists, and that's through a bunch of free avenues that you can use if you put up a website. And on my website, I use my website as a virtual me. I have several classes on my website that I have monetized where I deliver training 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. I make money while I sleep. I have a class on my website. It is a 3-hour Michigan concealed pistol license renewal class. In the state of Michigan, if you want to renew your Michigan CPL license, you are required to do a 3-hour review of training. Oh, asking is one thing. Getting the students to actually submit reviews is a different thing. How do I overcome that? Yes. Um, there's a lot of ways to overcome it. Some instructors stand in the room and say, "Hey, everybody, uh, how have you liked your class so far today? What would you say about the class today? If you're enjoying yourself, what would you want other people to know about this class?" And they actually push a link via SMS to everyone in the room to their cell phones, and they ask them to do a rating for them right there, maybe before they go to the range. A lot of people in my class, it's an 8-hour class. By the time we're going to the range, they're amazed at how quickly the day went. And now they're excited to go shoot. I grab them right there. I grab them when I'm issuing their certificate of completion. And I say, "Hey, your review is really important to me. This is how I stay in business." And I ask them verbally myself, for them to provide that review for me. You can ask on your website. You can send them a personal email. I also send all of my students a personal email on the back end of the class stating that I appreciate their business. As the owner of the company, it's important for me to know that I have met every single one of your expectations. If I have, awesome. Please let other people know about me. If I haven't, I want you to let me know. I want to know what you expected so that I can make it right. And we get pretty good turnout for that. Um, so yeah, asking is one thing, getting them to do it, you can't force them to do it, but many people, if they have that link right in front of them, are pretty apt to go in and leave you a review. And then back to not all classes need to be done in person. Yeah, the captive audience is really important. I mean, if they're sitting there right in front of you and you ask them, it's more personal, I think, than asking them on the back end. So they appreciate that. All not all classes need to be done in person. Back to the 3-hour Michigan CPL renewal. So the fact is, in the state of Michigan, to renew your license, you're required to do a 3-hour review of training. Doesn't have to be a class. We do offer a class. We do an in-person class twice a month here at our business. I have a book I wrote years and years ago where I put together everything that they will have learned in class so that they have a review, and I sell the book. I think I sell it for $14.99. I think I sell it for. And then Jim pushed me for years. Jim is my husband, to do an online version, and I put it up begrudgingly, and it sells for $37.95. It's on our platform here at Detroit Arms. We host a business called Cloud Bedrock, and we host it on our platform here. And I have people buying that silly class 2, 3, 4 in the morning, watching it. It delivers all on demand. They can watch all 3 hours at once. They can watch it 5 minutes at a time. Doesn't matter. But I make about $100 a day in just that. It's amazing. Uh, you're in Texas. Yeah, that's a pre-recorded class. Any class that you can teach that doesn't require state certification, like a lot of the concealed carry classes require that it's done in person, live in person. Some of the classes, like the USCCA has all those mini classes. You can get student credit for doing a mini class, but you have to do it live. So you can't record the mini classes. You have to present the USCCA mini classes live in order to receive credit for it. They won't allow you to record, deliver, and monetize their classes. So yeah, in Texas, there's constitutional carry in here. Yeah, a lot of advantages to getting license to carry. I am addressing that currently. I'm doing a Florida. They just approved constitutional carry in Florida. So I'm helping out some of my Florida customers with a class um, that covers why take a concealed carry class, even with constitutional carry being available. There are benefits to having a license to carry, especially if you travel. Being able to travel. Some states, there's a very few that will require that you're a resident in order to benefit from their constitutional carry. I think it's North Dakota requires that you're a resident. But like, for example, if you're coming from Texas and you're visiting Michigan, you can't concealed carry here just because your state has constitutional carry. You would have to have a valid concealed pistol license from Texas in order to carry concealed here in Michigan, because we don't have constitutional or permitless carry. So where can you look to see if virtual classes are allowed in your state? Ryan, any class that doesn't require a state certification. So license to carry classes, those typically require them to be delivered live in person. But any other class that you can think to teach can be recorded and can be put online. I deliver a concealed carry renewal class online. I have another class called a introduction to handguns that I offer. It's a 45-minute class. It's for the newbie. It goes over all of the basics with handguns, differences between revolvers and semi-automatics, how to legally transport a firearm without a concealed pistol license, um, goes over types of ammo, goes over range rules, things that they need to know about. If we're going to go to a range, you should know what range rules are and how to apply them. You should know how to dress appropriately for your CPL class. Here in Michigan, I think we have like 10 months of winter and 2 months of summer. But boy, I'll tell you, as soon as we get above 47 degrees, everybody's walking around here in flip flops and tank tops and shorts, and they come to the range dressed like they're going to the beach, and then they're surprised when that hot brass is coming back at them and hitting them. Yeah, I do film all the classes myself. I am not visible online with these classes. uh, I've filmed these so that people who are a customer of mine as a Cloud Bedrock customer can use these same classes and put them up on their website and sell them as if they are their own class. Like my introduction to handguns class, there's no law involved in that. The entire transporting a firearm is what's needed in all 50 states. It should be unloaded in a container designed for the transport of a firearm, locked in the trunk of your car. There are some states like Florida that even allow you without a CPL to carry like in your glove box, but that's rare when we're talking about all over the country. So yeah, I record classes like that. I have a quick class that I have that talks about how to choose your first gun class. What are you looking to get out of a class? How to choose your class. I've got one called Things You Need to Know as a concealed or as a gun owner, even if you don't carry. A lot of people own guns and they have them in their home just because that's what they do. They have them in their home. Maybe they go to the range and plink. If somebody were to break into their home, they might use that gun for self-defense. The reality is they don't know the law of self-defense in their state. Across all 50 states, the general consensus is the imminent danger triangle. You have to be in fear of grave bodily harm, forcible sexual contact, or death. And the person that you use lethal force against has to have the intent, the opportunity, and ability. And then we discuss things like um, if you were to go to court and you did shoot an intruder, how is a jury going to view that? What should you say or not say on a 911 call so that you don't incriminate yourself? Me, I'm a blabbermouth. Jim gets on me all the time. If I'm traveling somewhere, the checkout person at Kroger knows my flight number, where I'm going, where I'm staying, what I'm eating when I get there, blah, blah, blah. I put out way too much business into the world. I will talk to anybody about anything at any time. So that being said, if I were to call 911, many people think that a 911 call starts recording when they answer the line. I have had it pounded into my head that a 911 call starts recording when you hit that second one or when you hit the phone icon on your phone. So knowing that, if I dial 911 and put that phone up to my ear, I'm going to stop from having one of those spontaneous outbursts. That's what my husband calls them, where I say something where I'm just talking to myself and I might say, oh my gosh, I just killed this guy. Because now what have I said on a recorded line? I've admitted to a crime on a recorded line. 911's going to pick up. I need to keep my information that I give them limited. I'm going to tell them who I am, where I am, what I'm wearing, so the police know when they show up. I'm maybe going to tell them that shots were fired. I might, insinuate that there's been a crime. I'm going to let them know I need an officer. I'm going to let them know I need 2 ambulances. They're going to stay on the line and say, hey, stay on the line until help arrives. And if I do stay on the line, they're going to ask me questions. and they might ask me questions like, where did he come from? What was he doing? Was there anybody with him? I'm going to be inclined to try to answer those questions. And I might say things like, I think, it seemed like, I'm pretty sure. Those are all going to work against me later in a court of law. I need to remember everything I say can and will be used against me in a court of law. So I need to keep that information generic. And I am not going to answer any questions until my attorney is present. So I counsel my students to just hang up, make a second phone call and get that attorney under you. Or if you're a USCCA member, call the USCCA, let them get the ball rolling. Reality is, in a police situation, if they take you into custody, they can hold you for 72 hours without charging you with a crime. They're not required to give you a phone call in that 72-hour period. You may find yourself fighting charges for things that you did legally just because of the things that you said innocently. So I film a class about that. I film a class about things that you should know. And that would encourage somebody to kind of get those wheels turning. It's a quick 9-minute, I think 9 or 11-minute thing that I record. And I encourage them to take a full class where we can talk about your duty to retreat if there is such a thing. We can talk about what the reasonable man's defense is. We can talk about the law as it pertains to being a gun owner. So many people think their Uncle Phil told them, hey, somebody's messing around in your yard. You shoot them, just make sure you pull them in over the threshold before you call the cops. That is going to get you in so much trouble, depending on what state you live in. In Michigan, we can't defend property with lethal force. Texas, somebody's stealing your shovel, game on. They should have known better. It's different in every state, but it's important for people in your state know what the laws are. You don't have to give a full-on law class online. In fact, I would discourage that, but I would plant enough seeds that they would want to come and take a concealed carry class from you where you do cover those issues. In every class, I've had old fogey stogies come to my class. No offense if anybody's, in their 80s here, but they will come to the class and they will let me know no uncertain terms when they walk through the door. I don't know why I'm here, miss, because I could teach you something. And I assure them that while I am in my mid-50s and while I am a homemaker, there are things that I know about being a Michigan gun owner. And I will assure you, I will teach you something. And if you don't learn something in the 8 hours you're spending with me today, I'll give you your money back. And I've never given anyone their money back because there's always something that they don't know. So I do videos and I encourage people to attend a class because if you think you know, then you don't know. You have to know that you know. So automation for me is also key. I am a one-person show here at Detroit Arms. I do have instructors and range safety officers that work with me, but on the day-to-day business side, Monday through Friday, it's just me. I'm the person answering the phone. I'm the person doing everything. So I use automation to help me out. I have a phone line that I answer. It rings constantly. Uh, Missed phone call, text back is one of the things that I rely on because if I'm already on a phone or maybe I'm out shopping, maybe I'm just living my best life, every missed call that you have is a missed opportunity to teach someone. So it's important that I capture all of those calls. Even if somebody calls Detroit Arms, that's the name of my company, and they hang up, they get a text back from me that says, hey, it's Doreen from Detroit Arms. Sorry, I missed your call. Maybe they're calling me. I get tons of call at 5, 6 in the morning. Maybe they're calling me 11, 12, 1 o'clock at night. They're getting a text back from me that says, hey, sorry, I missed your call. What can I help you with? Oftentimes it's just somebody looking to say, hey, do you still have seats available in Sunday's class? I'm able to shoot them a text that says yes and the link to register. Other times, it just gives them that pause where I have contacted them and they aren't going to go to that next person on the Google search for finding a class for this coming Sunday. I'm able to give them a call right back. I'm able to call them back from my Detroit Arms line, even though it's coming to my cell phone. There's a little phone icon I use to call them back, and it shows that it's Detroit Arms calling them back and not me personally. They don't know me from Adam before they take the class. So it gives me the opportunity to grab every single call that comes in. I think Jim can attest. Last November, I kept telling him, I don't miss that many phone calls. I don't, if somebody calls and they hang up, I'll call them back. But he ran a little, what was it, Jim? Are you there?
Yep. It
Yeah.
was, I think, 42 calls or something, which was kind of funny because it was, the universal number,
Yeah.
42
Yeah.
calls. And, and we did the math on it for the ones that actually had business associated with it. It was like, what was it, $2,100 worth of business that
Right.
was captured because, and yeah, and before we put that system in, Doreen was just absolutely sure in her own mind,
Mhm.
in
Yeah.
her
That
own
I
mind,
got
she was,
every call.
yeah, that I got it, every call, but you don't know what you don't know on missed calls. It's kind of crazy. I always used to kind of marvel at Doreen's ability to uh, call people back, even though they didn't leave a message. Whereas, I'm like from the IT world. So, we don't call back unless you leave a voicemail and file a ticket and all that kind of stuff. But, Doreen was very good at following all those calls back. But like she mentioned, when back in those days, she would call back from her cell phone. Well, that cell phone number wasn't the number they called. So then you did this phone tag thing. And by the time they connected, oh, I already signed up with somebody else. So yeah, it really does add up. It's kind of crazy.
Right. And then chat. I know that many of you work a regular job. If you're not offering chat as a message for potential students to reach you, let me tell you, you are missing out on a lot of opportunity. I never thought that the chat option was that big of a deal. I have chat on Facebook. I have chat on my Google business profile. I have chat on my website. But I never thought it was a big deal. I will tell you that every day I probably field 6 to 12 chat sessions with clients. And the joke between Jim and I is if I can talk to them, I can get them as a butt in a seat. And so, especially now that people have gone back to work, they are at work and living their best life and coordinating what they're doing on the weekend from work. And if they're in a cube farm, they don't necessarily want Karen in the next cube over to hear them dialing for dollars, trying to find a gun class. So they tend to send questions via chat. Every time Facebook has the chat ability working for me because I have the Facebook app on my phone. As soon as Apple does an update, it always breaks that for me. My website chat used to be that I'd had to be in front of my computer, in front of my website in order to see people chatting to me. Google Business Profile, same thing. They have a chat platform, but if you had an update pushed to your phone and it broke that connection, it was also a problem. So what Jim did was he wrote a program that pulls in all of those chats and sends them to one spot on my phone so that I can answer to those chats 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. The other part of the chat function that was bothersome for me is that I would be having a conversation with somebody on Facebook or on Google or on my website. And then I would have to circle back around to that conversation. And I wouldn't remember what platform I was on in order to do that. And so he created a app for me, for um, lack of a better word, where all of those are combined into one platform, one place for me to look at it. It still goes out the same pipe. If somebody came to me from Facebook, it's going to go back out the Facebook pipe, but I have my own repository where all of the chats come to one place so that I can manage them. Another thing I use is automated contact. He would watch me every week sending out reminder emails to my students, remember, we have a class in 48 hours. Here's the range waiver I need you to fill out. Here's how I want you to dress. Here are some Dropbox files for you to complete before you come to class or read before you come to class. All of that now automatically goes out to all of my students every week. Automated follow-up. Again, when we're talking about getting that Google Business Profile review, every time my class ends, my classes are done by 7 p.m. for concealed carry. By 7:01, yeah, I know, but I can. My classes end at 7:01. By 7:02, my students have an email from me thanking. I don't have to go back to the office and do that. It's all done for me. And then reputation management. Getting found on the internet is easy when the Google reviews get you there automatically. I can't stress enough how important being on the Google platform in the Google Business Profile and Google Maps is. And people use that every day. It is the foremost authority for people looking for information. Back to the not every class needs to be in person. Plenty of training opportunities can be recorded and played on demand 24/7. I have a real estate agent safety class. It is modeled after the USCCA put one out first. I wrote my own and I've recorded it. I put it out there. I charge $19.95 for it. It is a 2-hour long program. In the state of Michigan, I've gotten the authorization to offer CE credit, continuing education credit. So anybody who comes to me real estate agent wise can take that class, get 2 hours of credit for it. I have instructors across the country that use my real estate agent safety class because it is not state specific. It really covers situational awareness, threat detection, de-escalation theories, how to choose a weapon if you do choose a weapon, and it kind of funnels them into taking a concealed carry class if that's the answer for what they want. It's great. I spend 1 day a week traveling somewhere here in the Metro Detroit area doing this class in person, but the ability to offer it on demand 24 hours a day is just amazing because they want to learn on their schedule. Real estate agents are busy. They have weird schedules. They don't always want to pause in the middle of the day for a lunch and learn or whatever. And so I offer it to them $19.95 and it's great. Yeah, the real estate agent class. I have a class. If you deliver the USCCA one, it has to be done in person. It can't be recorded. And I found that as a barrier because Michigan's a pretty big state and a lot of offices had an office here in Metro Detroit that I could visit, but they weren't able to pull in their agents from the west side of the state or up north or wherever. And so they would say, man, I wish you could give this class to them too. And as much as I would like to travel the great state of Michigan, I have better things to do. So the USCCA wouldn't let me record their class. I can do it via Zoom, but that's also kind of time consuming. So I just made my own class, recorded my own thing. It's available for anyone who's on the Cloud Bedrock platform. And I sell it that way. And it's a fantastic way to get the information out there. Some of my people give it for free as a funnel to taking a CPL class. Other people charge for it because they're able to give CE credit. Some states are kind of crazy. They don't want to include this as a continuing education credit for whatever reason. I have worked with USCCA instructors all across the nation and giving them the criteria for my course, letting them know that they can drop my name, they can tell your local licensing authority that there is availability in Michigan. And sometimes when they learn agents in other states are able to get CE credit, they kind of change their stance on that. Yeah, it depends on where you live as far as giving CE credit. Here in Michigan, because I have a brick and mortar and I'm able to do in-person training, they considered me a school, and I kind of went through the process a little easier than some other states. Other states really require that you jump through a bunch of hoops. But once you let them know that, hey, listen, I've got a USCCA instructor, which I am in Michigan, that I know that has been authorized to give CE credit, they often say, oh, really? You know, they don't think it's just you out there trying to churn up business, that it's more of a community effort, that you are really interested in getting them the information they need to be safe, and that they should consider offering it. And it's given them the opportunity, other USCCA instructors, the opportunity to get in front of their board and to have them consider offering the CE credit. So, um, gotcha. Yeah. Cassandra, if you need any help going through that, reach out to me. I can share with you the program that I put together, the outline for my class, and maybe if you can convince them that, hey, this is being offered to real estate agents all over the great state of Michigan, they find value in it, that maybe you can get them to listen to you. Yeah. And then online learning means that you can replicate your teaching efforts and deliver your knowledge without you even being present. And that's basically what I've done. I'm training people 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, even when I sleep, because I'm recording things and classes online that people are able to watch at their convenience. I know a lot of instructors maybe have YouTube channels, or maybe they do Facebook Live, or what else, you know, whatever platform is out there. And so they offer a lot of training on those platforms. It's really hard to monetize those platforms. Um, you can call me anytime. I'll get my phone number. We'll include all of the contact information here in a bit. But there you go. So the whole training bit is, you know, yeah, you can schedule Zoom classes, yeah, you can do all of those things, but there are things that you can teach. Maybe you teach a class that isn't a USCCA class, that's just a class that is something specific to you. Maybe you have talking to your kids about guns. I know the USCCA has a class that they've put out there, but you don't need a USCCA class to tell people how to talk to kids about guns. You can make your own. Maybe you teach a class on unorthodox shooting positions. You talk to people about how to draw from within a vehicle, how to do cover and concealment within your home. Any topic that you can think of that somebody might find interesting as far as training goes with being a firearm owner, you can record it and deliver it on a platform 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and monetize it if you want. I have created a bunch of stuff for USCCA instructors that are on our Cloud Bedrock platform, free for them to use, and I make more every day. But you can literally, if you can think it, you can train it. So the idea is that we need to work smarter and not harder, and we need to let automation tools help us take some of the drudgery out of doing what we do in order to get those butts and seats, managing the inquiries, prospecting for more students, scheduling and teaching classes. I use online training not only to teach, but to create increased interest for in-person learning. So there are ways, and I teach all of my instructors that come to me how you can put butts in seats without spending a dime on traditional advertising methods. And I remind you all that if you can teach 2 people, you can teach 5. So let's put those butts in seats. And I've referred back to Cloud Bedrock quite often today. And that is a company that my husband wrote. Oh my goodness, my husband created. He just took everything I do in my day-to-day activity, and he has turned it into a automation platform with software, so that he just takes whatever I do throughout the course of the day and automates it for me. And then we have a community that we created because when we went I'll just back up a bit. We've been in the industry 15 years. When we started in the industry, we were NRA instructors. We eventually migrated to being a USCCA shop. And we found it really difficult to get any kind of assistance with questions when we were first starting out as instructors. You can't reach out to your local instructor platform typically because you're considered a competition and nobody wants to train their competition. So I spent the better part of the last 15 years learning everything the hard way. And I have fallen on my face more than once. I have spent tens of thousands of dollars doing advertising that produced very little. I have spent many hours in timeout on Facebook because Mark Zuckerberg and I have very different views on what is funny. And he doesn't like guns. And so I have found myself on a short list as far as Mark Zuckerberg is concerned. So a lot of times I can't even advertise on the Facebook platform. So I've had to get creative and I've had to find ways to get my information out there for people to be able to see it. Jim's Cloud Bedrock system is amazing. It does amazing things for me in automating a lot of the repetitive things that I do throughout the day. It makes sure that everybody that calls me, goes through and is able to contact me or get the answer that they're looking for. The joke was, if I can get them on the phone, I can get them in a seat. And it is sort of like a funnel. I operate 2 funnels currently, and I put other funnels out there on a rotating basis. One of my funnels is for my Michigan CPL class because my company name is Detroit Arms. People think, oh, that only applies to the Detroit area. People up in northern Michigan, way up here, they don't want to hear from somebody in Detroit, So I've created a funnel called MichiganCPLRenewal.com. It's me. It's just me under a new name delivering the information that they need in order to renew their CPL. And so I advertise in Facebook groups all over the state of Michigan so that they understand that there's this class out there. If you don't want to self-study, if you don't want to Google the information yourself, you don't want to take an in-person class, here's this online class that covers everything you need to know. Real estate agents aren't always gun friendly. And so they don't want to hear a bunch of gun talk from a company called Detroit Arms. So I have a website called realestateagentsafety.com. And that website is very generic. It doesn't talk about Detroit Arms. What it does talk about is safety and being safe and doing safe things as a real estate agent. And it funnels them to my real estate agent safety class that I've recorded that's online 24/7. That class in particular is valid all over the country. It doesn't matter where somebody is, they can take that class. So all of these classes that I create for me, um, I create for the Pew Pros and the Cloud Bedrock community. I share tips and tricks. I work with people every day, teaching them how to advertise for free on Facebook, how to get your name out in the community, how to automate your processes. Jim has the Cloud Bedrock platform. It's a software package. It's available to USCCA instructors nationwide. It works for you whether you are brand new to being an instructor or if you've been in the industry for 15 years. I use it every day. And it's really helpful in making sure that I stay on track. Boy, do you have a lot of work to do. Yeah, everybody, I joke, but when I took my instructor certification class, I sat in a room with about 12 other people. Many of them, the majority of the room, I think there was maybe only one other person in the room other than my husband that had ever taught a CPL or been in a CPL class before. These were all people, avid shooters, but they wanted to build a company. And I saw how much they didn't know about running a firearm training business. They thought, yeah, I'm just going to get my certification. All of my friends and family have said, hey, if you got it, I would take my class from you. When I took the class to be an instructor, I think I spent upwards of $700 to do that. In order for you to recoup the cost of that and the fact that you spent 2 days doing it and all of the expenses that come into actually running a class, it's going to take you a good amount of time time and students to just recoup that. How do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. Exactly. And so when we were in the class, I got up in front of the class, and I'm sure my training counselor was just like, oh, heaven help me. But I was like, hey, you guys, this is not build it and they will come. There's going to be a lot of work that you need to do in order to grow and run a successful training company. And they just didn't understand how time consuming it is to prospect, to answer phone calls, to schedule a class, to run a class. And so, yeah, Jim went behind and kind of cataloged everything that I do and has taken off some of the redundant things that I do and automated it. So, yeah, Cassandra, being a one person show is tough. I do have an instructor that I tender most of the instructing to. I open every single one of my classes. I spend lunch hour with my class to make sure, hey, I know you talked to me on the phone. I know you want my opinion because I was the one who convinced you to be here today. What are you learning? What are you not learning? What are you hoping to get out of the class? I am in front of my students all day long, just in the party planner capacity. So if anyone ever wants to reach out and talk to me about how you can automate, how you can do things on Facebook for free, Jim just put up my schedule here. Schedule 15 minutes with me. I can let you know how I can make your job significantly easier, and I can bring customers to your door. I can't stress enough the Google business profile and putting reviews up there. That is how Google determines where you fall in that ranking of people that show up when people put in a search engine, firearm training near Madison, Wisconsin. It matters how you utilize the Google platform, and that you are in fact listed on the platform, that you have students reporting back to the Google platform about how they felt about you, and then you are using the Google platform to thank them for taking your class. It all is part of their algorithm for ranking you. We had a instructor I was working with in Chicago. He was totally struggling. This was less than 6 months ago. Totally struggling. He would rent out this highly expensive area in downtown Chicago to teach his classes. He was paying for Facebook advertising. He was paying for Google promoted posts. He was doing everything he knew to do to get 2 or 3 students every other week for his class, just back against the wall. So I took him, we tweaked his Google business profile. We got him some reviews on that profile from former students. He responded to those students. He found himself going from page 5 of instructors in the Chicagoland area to the front page of Chicagoland area instructors. Now he's doing classes every week. He's got 16 students. That's the max in the room that he can teach. But he's gone from 3 students where he was paying hundreds and hundreds of dollars a month to 16 students every single week. And he's just thriving. And it's really, really interesting. Let's see. I became an instructor last October. Yeah, Texas is way different than Wisconsin, especially since they have different laws. So you don't even know where to start. You should start with your Google business profile. You should start. Well, do you have a place to teach? Do you have a gun range to shoot at, or a place for a classroom? I know that's a lot of instructors get all their training, they get all of their classes lined up, and then they go out and they find out They don't even have a place to host a class, and they don't have a place to shoot at. So those are the first two questions I ask to every instructor. Do you have some place to host a class? And you have a small place to host. Hey, that's a great start. What about a range to shoot at? Have you found a local range that will allow you to teach class on their range? Awesome. So you've got the fundamentals. You've got what it takes. What I would do now is I would start with my Google business profile. I would also develop an identity on Facebook. I would join a bunch of local groups in the area where you are and start advertising in those local groups. It's free to post in local groups that are on Facebook. Join the public ones, join the ones that talk about, I don't know where you're at in Texas, but let's just say you're in Austin, Texas. It would be groups out there that would be Austin small business owners. What's happening in Austin this week? There's tons of local groups out there for every city where you can actually post like a business card post in the group, just an image in the group. You can post on their calendars. I am in hundreds of groups, but about 40 of them have like a community calendar attached to the group. And all of my classes are listed there and are there for anybody in the group to see. I put a link right there for them to join a class, and people sign up automatically just because they saw me in a group on Facebook that they frequent. So that's where I would start. I would start with a Google business profile. I would branch out onto Facebook. Yeah, and I did a little 2-minute on that as well.
Yeah, on the Pew Pros community that we have, which there's an app for as well. So Google and Google Android, Apple iOS app, or you can just look at it on a website. It's free, 100% free. Go out there and check it out. We put little 2-minute words of wisdom, and they're never 2 minutes, as Doreen will be.
Yeah, I always say that it's 2 minutes about something, and then I drivel on for like 9. So don't ever hold me to 2 minutes, because like the presentation that I just went through with you was technically a 2-minute presentation, and here we are 52 minutes in, and I just wrapped it.
Don't worry, the 2-minute ones aren't that long.
Right. Yeah, they're significantly shorter because I'm not interjecting information, but yeah, when you're booking on my calendar and it says, hey, book 15 minutes with me, I've only had one call in my entire history of offering 15 minutes with me, go 15 minutes or less. So just know that, if my schedule allows it and I don't have a bunch of 15-minute calls back to back, I'm yours. Just call me and we'll get done whatever it is you want to get done. For us coming into the community, we found it really hard to get directive. I know each one of you has a training counselor, but oftentimes that training counselor is also in your local market, and they're not going to give you the keys to the kingdom. Me personally, my business is established. My business is significant. And I want to help other instructors get to be like I am, where I know that every class is going to be a minimum of 20 students. I have, generally 30, 35, 40 is on the higher side, but I hit 40 a couple times a month. So I want other people to be able to benefit. See, now your TC is 1,500 miles away. So that's where you could benefit from the Pew Pros community and from maybe even adopting the Cloud Bedrock platform. I know, let's see, time is money and my time is priceless. Yeah. Jim just wants to keep me focused because every time I leave the building, it costs him like $300. So if I happen to wander out of the building during the course of a day, he knows I'm at Sam's Club or some other shopping adventure and that it's costing him money. So he would much rather me be tied to my desk with back-to-back phone calls, which is why I'm here tonight, letting you guys know, get on my calendar because it keeps him off my butt. Yep, time is money. Yeah. And I want everybody to understand that it's really not that hard, that if I can do it, you can do it. If you can think it, you can record it and sell it. There's plenty of people out there who say, oh, I'm going to get a YouTube channel and I'm going to do it that way. Reality is, in order to even monetize your YouTube channel, you need to have 1,000 followers. I don't know if you know how long it takes to get 1,000 followers. Even when you get to the 1,000 follower and more platform, you're only getting paid like 15 cents for every video that's viewed on there. So it's going to take you quite a bit of time to amass money. We have a platform here. The Cloud Bedrock platform hosts the videos that I post out there, and it hosts the videos that other instructors put out there. There's a gentleman, his name is John Colas. He's in, where is he, Jim? He's out in the Boston area. And he wrote a book called Pistol Practice. And his book is teaching people how to shoot at the range. A lot of people go to the range, they get set up in their little position, and they're shooting at a piece of paper, and they're not really practicing. They might be getting a little muscle memory under their belt by understanding their trigger pull and things like that, but they're not really practicing for marksmanship, being able to get and draw and be on target. So he wrote a book called Pistol Practice, and he teaches classes showing people how to go through the book and all the drills that he has in the book, in order to increase your competency when you're at the range to shoot. So now you're not just standing there shooting in an isosceles pattern with your gun, watching your sights. He's teaching you how to shoot, how to actually shoot. And he created the book, and now he has recorded a series of videos to accompany the book, and he hosts that on our platform, on our Cloud Bedrock platform. There are platforms out there that you can be a teacher on. There's Teachable, there's a bunch of places out there. But once they discover that you're talking about guns and shooting guns, they will have a problem with you being out there. So your accent on the video type platforms, you know what? Everything that I record for Cloud Bedrock members, anybody who's on the Cloud Bedrock platform, I record everything. You can choose to use my soundtrack. You can put your own in there. Shoot, you can hire somebody to do it for you if you don't want me talking. And you go on to Fiverr, and we'll ship them the slides, and then they can record it for you. But yeah, a lot of great ways I can help you take it from like a side hustle into a full-time, hopefully, business for you, or just make it a more profitable side hustle for you. Does anyone have any questions at all? I keep blabbing, and I know we're up on an hour, so I want to make sure if anyone has any quick questions that the group can benefit from.
And I did put a link to our recent podcast interview with on the Firearm Trainers podcast, so
Right.
you can take a listen to that.
Yeah, we were on with Rob Beckman, the Firearms Trainer podcast. We talk a lot about the Cloud Bedrock platform. Jim, did you have something that you wanted to share with everyone about? We didn't talk really much about the Cloud Bedrock platform. If you're on the call, we'll send an email to you about what is the Cloud Bedrock platform and how you can get involved. But
real briefly, it's basically a software as a service. It has websites, it has funnels, it has an e-commerce system that allows booking of classes. So you have your own booking calendar. It's integrated with Cloud Bedrock to create contacts, to send out reminders, to send out a request for reviews via Google and Facebook, and all the things that Doreen mentioned. And then the one thing I think someone had mentioned is you don't have a gym. Well, you would because as I think Major Mike could probably attest to, is customers have the ability to book on our calendar anytime they have questions, including mine. And so you'll have a link, you'll get on a Zoom call, just like we're on now. And, you can share your screen, ask questions. And that's what I do all day. That's my world. So yeah, you don't have to, you can have a fractional gym.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, a gym of your very own. So if you haven't joined the Pew Pros community, it's free. I put up videos there pretty regularly. I've even got videos I've recorded that Jim hasn't put up there yet. One of them was called housekeeping. I don't think he's put that one up there. I spend my day calling instructors across the nation, and I can tell you that a lot of us aren't doing the housekeeping that we need to do to be a successful instructor. I call instructors, they don't answer the phone. When I call these instructors, I get the generic um, voicemail from AT&T or whoever. It's not a personalized greeting. And then I listen to the greeting, and then it says, sorry, this email's or this voicemail's not set up yet and can't take messages. Or it will say something like, sorry, this mailbox is full. And it just makes me crazy. I'm like, do you realize that this is what people who are potentially trying to hire you hear? And they hear some impersonal greeting from AT&T, then they hear that you haven't set up your email box or your voicemail box, and then they hear your voicemail box is full. You are losing money every time somebody calls you and they can't leave a message or they can't get a hold of you. And so it's just little housekeeping things that you can do in order to keep the flow going and to build that community and the business for you. So join the Pew Pros community. It's free. I'm on there. You can ask questions. If you want to book on my calendar, he's given everyone the link to book on the calendar. If you want to hear a little bit more about Cloud Bedrock, you can do that by listening to the Firearm Trainer podcast. You can, I think we have 1 or 2 videos on Pew Pros about that. Book on my calendar and I'll tell you all about it. But it's a great program. It is changed everything for me, and I want to share it so that we can all be successful. In my opinion, we're not competition with each other. We are out there to promote our gun lifestyle and teaching people to be responsible gun owners. In the news every day, you see some, for lack of a better word, idiot doing really stupid things with firearms, kids getting hurt. And it's my goal to get out there and have as many of us out there as possible, getting people into a class, getting people properly trained, getting people to understand how important it is to have actual training done. And it's my goal to have everyone in every state doing that and doing it successfully. So thank you for joining us. Thanks, Major Mike. Yeah, he's available all the time and he is the best. So the more people that book Jim and get on his schedule, the more chance I have to escape during the course of a day and make him crazy. It's a vicious circle around here. But please get on my calendar, get on Jim's calendar. And I'm happy to help. Don't ever think that you're wasting my time. I'm happy to help. And thank you for joining us tonight. Jim will send everyone a recap in email if we have it for you.
Yep.
And every single one of you will be hearing from me at some point as well. So I tend to make phone calls out to everyone to make sure that you got out of tonight what you thought you were going to get out of tonight. And if not, I can help cover that with you. So thank you for joining us. We appreciate you. Join Pew Pros, and I'll see you next time.
Thanks, everybody. Bye now.
Bye. Thanks, Jason.